Russia is entering one of the most chaotic phases of the war. Ukrainian drones ignite oil depots across multiple regions, governors sound the alarm, and entire areas brace for blackout-level fallout. At the same time, Europe is rapidly shifting gears from massive new funding packages by Norway, Canada, and Germany to unprecedented military production for Ukraine on NATO soil. Inside Russia, disorder grows: stolen ammunition, broken air defense promises, and cracks in its war machine. A major turning point is forming, military and politically. Let's break down what's happening right now. Hello, this is Ukraine Today. Maria Farafonova here with the latest updates. Ukraine's partners are stepping into the game. Norway's Foreign Minister Espen Barth Eide announced that the government had approved an additional $500 million for the PURL program, which finances the procurement of US weapons for Ukraine's defense forces. Norway, already one of the key donors of Ukraine's military assistance, is effectively ready to independently cover half of the planned December funding.
Today, Norway will announce an additional $500 million for the PURL program to be delivered in two packages, one together with Germany and Poland, and another with Germany and the Netherlands.
Canada and Germany are also expanding their participation in the PURL program, which finances the procurement of US weapons for Ukraine. Canada is significantly increasing its support aimed at meeting the key defense needs of Ukraine's armed forces.
I am pleased to announce that Canada, together with other allies, will procure a package of military capabilities under the PURL program, NATO's mechanism for military support to Ukraine. Canada's contribution to this package will amount to $200 million, bringing Canada's total contribution to $890 million.
In addition, Canada will continue supporting Ukraine through other channels. A further $35 million will be provided under the Comprehensive Assistance Package, raising the country's total contribution to $180 million. Following negotiations in Moscow on the situation in Ukraine, Germany's Foreign Minister Johann Wadephul also announced strengthened support for Kyiv. He stated that an additional $200 million would be allocated for supplying US weapons and ammunition to Ukraine. Urgent! Denmark has officially authorized Ukraine to establish military production on its territory, the first time anything like this has happened within a NATO country. The launch is planned for 2026.
The new facility will appear in the town of Voyens, in the south of the country, where the Ukrainian company Firepoint will build a rocket fuel production plant, Build reports.
The facility will specialize in producing solid rocket fuel for military use, a critical component for several Ukrainian missile systems.
Despite the strategic importance of the project, local residents are expressing concerns about security issues and the risk of possible Russian sabotage, Danish media reported.
Shock! Germany may fail to meet its promise to supply Ukraine with additional RST SLM medium-range air defense batteries. This assumption was voiced by the German aide in Ukraine observers, citing internal sources. So far, only 2 systems are known to have been delivered, and it is highly unlikely that the remaining promised units will arrive by December 2025. Ukrainian experts are sounding the alarm.
It can be assumed that the problem most likely lies in the limited production capacities of both the systems themselves and the components for them, as well as the increased interest from many European countries. And although the industry's capabilities are being built up, it takes time.
It appears the defense industry of the key ally has indeed suffered a major breach. The whole world is on alert. In Germany, unknown individuals have stolen around 20,000 rounds of ammunition intended for the country's armed forces. The munitions were being transported in a civilian truck near Magdeburg.
According to preliminary investigation data, unknown individuals opened the cargo compartment at night and stole several boxes of ammunition. The theft was noticed only the next day when the driver arrived at a nearby barracks for delivery.
Work on the case is ongoing. At the same time, the Ministry of Defense does not hide that the situation poses a significant security threat. Ukrainian drones continue to destroy Putin's oil artery. Hundreds of strikes are landing one after another, depriving Russia of its black gold. Last night, Voronezh region became the latest to face this survival test.
In the Voronezh region, debris from a downed drone damaged fuel tanks.
The region's governor himself described the devastating consequences of the drone attack. It appears to be a point of no return for Russia. There is simply no sense in trying to conceal these failures any longer.
According to preliminary information, there were no casualties. In one district, the downed UAV caused minor damage to several fuel tanks. No fire occurred.
Unknown drones stage a furious show in Russia's Tambov region as well. Leaked reports already indicate that one of the primary targets was the Nikiforovka oil depot in the village of Dmitriivka. These have been extremely intense days for the Russian Federation. The pressure is mounting rapidly. Moscow is bracing for a potential blackout, while Taganrog and Chechnya have been rocked by fires following a series of precise Ukrainian strikes. Ukraine's defense forces continue to show their ability to operate deep inside Russian territory. In our report ahead, we break down the latest developments and the full scope of Ukraine's successful operations.
Russia is on fire, and in darkness, there's a blackout in the Moscow region. Dozens of residential buildings have been left without power.
There's no power at all over there. There's something lit up in one window, but here, not a single one. In
Complete darkness, Russians are sitting not for the first time. A month ago, there was a massive power outage in the Moscow region. Well, the good drones did a thorough job, although the occupation authorities, of course, deny it.
Essentially, this is a gradual disconnection of Moscow from the power supply. This won't happen today or tomorrow or even in a week, maybe unfortunately not even by New Year's. But considering that Ukraine is scaling up its raids across the Russian Federation, just look at how many Ukrainian drones are now flying into Russian territory. There was nothing like this in 2022 or 2023, and not in 2024 either. But
now it's already good morning in the Krasnodar region. Local residents are reporting explosions in Tuapse. The Ilsky oil refinery and one of the local ports may have been hit.
Oh, it blinked, I saw it.
The West.
Is that it? And at night, drones set the oil depot in the Oriel region on fire.
Now even the massive chemical plant is burning fiercely. I truly do not know what that particular situation is. Oh, really, this is quite concerning and unexpected.
See, it's blazing. And this is the standard way to start the day or end the evening in Russia. What once seemed very far away is becoming more and more realistic.
the year 2025. This is a record year for the number of drone strikes on the territory of the Russian Federation. In addition to drones, missiles are now starting to arrive as well. These include small-sized missiles like the Peklo, as well as, for example, the long-range Neptune, the extended Neptune DM. There are also Flamingo missiles.
Chechnya has also come under the crosshairs of UAVs. Local residents report that as a result of the attack, an FSB building was damaged and a unit base was also shelled. Ahmad in Gudermes.
This is a certain distinct element, indeed a significant power element, which actively plays its crucial role and firmly occupies its designated place within the established Russian hierarchy, undeniably, and not the last one either. Destruction, humiliation, and devastation are very important for this particular direction. We will find each and every one of them, and this is a very important message. So that every Kadyrovite who came to Ukraine understands that one way or another we find Russian generals, eliminate them, blow them up. An ordinary Kadyrovite will simply be smeared against the wall by another drone. And we'll even send him a package from Nova Poshta with a piece of salo.
Let us recall that on the night of November 25th, Ukraine attacked the Borev aircraft repair plant in Taganrog, which is capable of modernizing and servicing two 95MS aircraft. As a result, the occupiers lost the ability to further operate this aviation. As a result of the strike, two aircraft, the A-60 and the A-100LL, were destroyed.
Truly unique aircraft were destroyed in Taganrog, ones that Russia will never be able to produce again. Moreover, these planes were originally laid down back in the Soviet Union era. The A-60 was a long-term project that was supposed to be a flying laser weapon. It was meant to be a kind of threat to the American space program. But it was never brought to any kind of operational state. The destruction of this aircraft essentially puts an end to the entire aviation laser program of the Russian Federation. As of today, with the destruction of the A-100LL aircraft, Russia simply loses the ability to continue these testing phases or to create anything new. Although, to be honest, the A-100, the new generation of the A-50, was already technically and technologically outdated compared to its Western counterparts.
This is just a small part of where, lately, UAVs have been flying in, striking military and critical infrastructure targets on Russian territory. Of course, after every attack, the Russian Ministry of Defense reports that most of the UAVs were shot down. But for some reason, after the phrase "all targets have been eliminated," dozens of videos showing fires appear in Russian Telegram channels. The reason is obvious: poor air defense performance.
Russia has always had problems with air defense. The Soviet Union did not. Completely. Sealed off the airspace. The Soviet Union always had far more capabilities in this regard. As a direct and significant result, Russia consequently inherited a truly vast and expansive territory, along with a considerably large airspace that unfortunately contained many significant blind spots and numerous critical gaps, through which, of course, various hostile strike assets could potentially fly unimpeded.
Automated control systems have already brought a blackout closer in the southern part of Russia, so Putin's capital could also soon be plunged into complete darkness.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
If you want peace, prepare for war. And Ukraine is preparing not only to repel enemy attacks in 2026, but also to strike deep into Russian territory. In particular, Ukraine and Norway will open a joint drone production line in 2026. And that's far from the only bad news for the enemy. Our journalists have more. Watch now.
A new level and scale. Ukraine and Norway have reached an agreement on collaboration in the field of unmanned aerial vehicle production. The corresponding agreement was signed by the Ukrainian side with the Norwegian Minister of Defense. Denis Shmyhal emphasized that this cooperation will become an important stage in expanding Ukraine's production capabilities and strengthening the country's defense capacity. The top priority is the rapid deployment of an experimental production line as early as 2026.
We are gaining access not only to production facilities, but also to the technologies of NATO countries. This also means the opportunity for cooperation in the production of Ukrainian drones and, accordingly, the exchange of experience, as well as in the practical use of Ukrainian interceptor drones. Both strike drones and accordingly they're scaling up.
A similar model of cooperation is also being implemented with the United Kingdom. A few days ago, Kyiv signed a licensing agreement for large-scale production of Octopus interceptor drones at British facilities.
This is an exclusively Ukrainian development, and it already has real-world application in combat conditions. This drone can operate both at night and it is effective against electronic warfare systems, and notably, this drone can operate at low altitudes.
The manufactured interceptor drones will be delivered to Ukraine to strengthen its defense against Russian UAVs. The Octopus project is being implemented as a joint defense industrial initiative. The United Kingdom has obtained a license for mass production of the Ukrainian interceptor, and Ukraine will receive them to enhance its own interception capabilities.
The recently signed agreement comprehensively provides for the extensive production of several thousand crucial interceptor drones for the pressing needs of Ukraine's defense forces, specifically at various specialized enterprises located within the United Kingdom, which effectively eliminates any possibility for the Russian side to successfully destroy the vital defense plants actively manufacturing this essential product.
3 manufacturers have already received the necessary technologies to produce the Octopus drones. Another 11 companies are preparing production lines for them. After the start of Russia's full-scale aggression in 2022, the United Kingdom became one of Ukraine's main partners. London is providing powerful military assistance. In addition, the United Kingdom is actively promoting sanctions pressure on Russia and providing financial support to Kyiv.
The United Kingdom is a pioneer when it comes to practical implementation of so-called coalitions. Drone coalitions, naval coalitions, strike capability coalitions, and accordingly it was the United Kingdom that delivered the first heavy weaponry to the Ukrainian side. In particular, we're talking about the Challenger 2 tank. Only after the corresponding actions by the United Kingdom did the United States deliver its Abrams tanks to the Ukrainian side.
There are also plans in Ukraine to create robotic strongpoints, which will be equipped with combat modules to counter Russian occupiers. First and foremost,
we are talking about the logistics component, meaning ground robots. They will take on the main part of logistics, reducing to zero the losses of personnel and, accordingly, equipment of the defense forces of Ukraine. This refers to the delivery of ammunition and, accordingly, the evacuation of the wounded. Additionally, these are engineering functions such as mining and demining areas.
Earlier, Ukraine, together with the United States, began producing drone interceptors capable of countering Russian strike UAVs. Additionally, the Dutch government will provide €250 million for the purchase of American weapons for Ukraine under the PRL program. In particular, anti-aircraft missiles for F-16s and ammunition, which Kiev needs most, will be purchased in the United States.
Russia is ramping up its hybrid operations against NATO states, forcing Europe to respond in ways that would have seemed unthinkable only a few years ago. European governments are now openly preparing scenarios for the potential retaliatory strike, and Germany, according to the Wall Street Journal, has drafted a classified 1,200-page blueprint outlining how to ready the country for a possible conflict with Russia. All the key details ahead.
Europe is preparing to respond to Russia's attacks. MEPs propose to defend themselves together, learn from Ukraine, and tighten sanctions against Russia and Belarus. This is what they claim in Deutsche Welle.
You have to speak to Russia in its own language. Russia only understands the language of force. That's why Russia has excellent relations with Turkey, despite the fact that Turkey shot down its plane and didn't say it was a mistake. They apologized for what they did, but at the same time made it clear, we warned you.
A day later, Politico also reported that Europe is considering retaliatory measures against Russia.
As of now, I think it's still unfortunately too early to talk about any more serious response from Europe. Even though it's obvious that aggression against Europe from the Russian Federation has been going on for a long time, and Russian drones or drones that take off in Europe, most likely launched by people connected to the Russian Federation, are flying in. Europe, as a collective entity, is still not psychologically prepared or truly ready to resort to, let's say, the overt use of forceful military mechanisms of pressure and coercion. This reluctance is deeply ingrained.
According to journalist sources, the Kremlin's ideas for retaliation range from joint offensive cyber operations and faster, more coordinated identification of the sources of hybrid attacks to unexpected military exercises led by NATO. According to the Wall Street Journal's description, Germany's plan appears to be more concrete. The country has developed a secret plan to prepare for a possible war with Russia.
In Germany, they also considered, well, maybe sacrificing Ukraine and that's it. But in 2023, somewhere closer to the end of 2023, the German Council on Foreign Relations prepared a report that included the following phrase: in the event of Ukraine's defeat, a war between Germany and Russia is a prospect within 6 to 10 years. In other words, it's not that the war is cancelled. The war might be postponed, but over a longer period, it will still happen. Later on in Germany, they said that no, it won't be 6 to 10 years. The war could start in as little as a year.
In just over 2 years, the Germans created a document that provides for the deployment of up to 800,000 NATO troops, including units from Germany and the United States, to the eastern hypothetical front line. Sources from the Wall Street Journal claim that the plan details the logistical routes along which the troops are to be transferred.
Naturally, doing this on the territory of Ukraine is more acceptable than allowing it on their own soil. But what does it mean to do this on the territory of Ukraine? It means that Germany would send its troops to Ukraine to fight against Russia. So far, we have not seen any serious signals from our European partners indicating their readiness to send troops to Ukraine. But there is talk about it. Emmanuel Macron sometimes brings it up, but somehow this idea doesn't really find much support among the European Union partners.
By continuing its aggression, Russia must understand that in Ukraine it may face not only the armed forces of Ukraine, but also other military forces defending the sovereignty of their own countries.
That's all for now. Stay with us to be the first to know what's happening right now. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. See you soon.